Yes, this is John G. Sutton. Thank you for watching today. Tales from the Jails. I want to talk a little bit about some very strange inmates that I encountered in my journey through the prisons. I'll tell you a little story, a little page from history. I think the year was about 1975, and it was lunchtime, and I was patrolling the landings of Sea Wing at Wormwood Scrubs, and I heard as I was going up the landing, straight at the start of the landing, got stairs at each end. You see, metal stairs going up. I got up one end and I was walking down the other, and I could hear all the inmates laughing and shouting, "Hey, hey!" I thought something's going on here. What on earth is going on? So as I got down C2 landing, I could see what they were laughing at. One of the inmates, believe this or believe this not, had got himself on a chair or something behind his cell door, and the latch on the thing had been pushed to one side, and poking through, there's no glass in it, you see, somebody knocked the glass out, and poking through the glass, yeah, poking through what would have been where the glass was this rather long, semi-erect todger, yeah. He'd stuck his dick out through the thing, and all the inmates on the other side were laughing away. So I thought, well, I'll have a laugh too. So I got my truncheon out, yeah. Truncheon about 12 inches long. Got my truncheon out, went along this quietly so they didn't hear me. All they could hear was the laughter on the other side. Went up to this large todger poking through the spy hole and gave it a hell of a whack. Boosh! Yeah. I didn't damage it, I don't think, but the almighty scream from the other side of the door, and all the people on the other side of the wing who were watching out through their spy holes, yeah, they were rolling about laughing. The whole place was in uproar. I thought that was slightly amusing. I don't think the guy who did the dick wobbling, I don't think he was too amused. But I didn't get any complaint. No complaint. Can you imagine going before the governor and say, "Well, I was just sticking my dick through the spy hole and somebody hit it." Yeah. Well, and I wouldn't have admitted it anyway. Yeah, you've got to be a bit discreet at times, don't you think? Yeah. I was on E-wing at Strangeways jail, and this prisoner came, and he was quite distraught. Actually, he was a big. I would say he was a bit what you might call a bit of a lumpkin. Not a particularly bright individual, but a big, hefty guy. Like that, about 6'3". But huge fella. So I said to him, he didn't look like a typical prisoner. He wasn't. And he wasn't a violent man. He was quiet, but he was a bit slow. So I said to him, this is not your usual habitat, is it? He said, no, I've never been in jail before. I said, well, if you want, I'll help you to settle in. I'll make sure you're all right. So I made sure he was in a cell with reasonably okay kind of inmates that weren't going to molest him or abuse him. Because it didn't matter if you're 6'6", Don't matter if you're Tyson Fury. You get in there and half a dozen of these maniacs grabs you, you're gonna get it, But no, he didn't. I made sure he was in a cell where he was reasonably happy there. I said, if you want, you can tell me about why you're here, and I'll try and help you to understand how you're going to go forward in life. Which I wasn't quite expecting to hear what he told me. Apparently, his father was a real brute who had bullied him and kicked him and hit him and forced him to work on the farm. He worked on a farm somewhere in the wilds of Lancashire. And he decided that he'd had enough. He couldn't put up with this. His mother had died years ago. It was just him and his dad on the farm. And he was getting all the rough jobs, mucking the pigs out, all the heavy work he was having to do it. You could see he was built for the job, you know, but he wasn't intellectually equipped to think his way through this. So he decided he'd get revenge on his father for this. So one night, now how he came up with this conclusion, how he did this, I mean, how do you arrive at a conclusion to do something like what he did? But he told me what he did. He went to the local graveyard and dug up a recently buried corpse. Seriously. Being a big lad that he was, he strapped it to him, the corpse. Seriously, strapped it to him with a belt round him and the corpse. And he took it on his motorbike back to the farm, yeah? And when his dad was in a drunken sleep, he put the corpse of this recently dead woman in bed beside his father, so that when his father woke up, there was this corpse next to him. I'm sorry for laughing. It was amusing the way he told me, you know. And I said, and what happened? He said, it nearly drove him mad. He was screaming and running around the house, and he phoned the police because he didn't know how this corpse had got there. He said, of course, I was asleep. I didn't tell him, you know. He said, and when the police came and identified the body as being a recently buried, they put two and two together and arrested me, and here I am. I think he was doing about 12 months. He wasn't doing a long, long time. That was one strange case. Another strange case, also involving a gentleman. He really was a gentleman. It was certainly strange. He worked on a farm somewhere near a place called Barnoldswick. Yeah, now that's the neck of the country where I come from, but I certainly don't do what this guy did. He was strange, you know, really strange looking character. And once again, he came onto E-Wing, onto E2 landing, and I was working on E2 landing. So I said to him, come on, we'll get you located, you know, get yourself set up. I said, have you been in jail before? No, I've never been in before. I said, never been in. So it's fairly new. So you've got to be a bit cautious with these people because they don't know how to react. You know, they don't know how to protect themselves, and they don't know how to take orders from the staff, and just, you know. So I explained to him, you know, keep saying nothing, don't tell anybody why you're here. I said, you can tell me if you want. I said, I'll listen to you and try and advise you on the best way forward once you come out of jail, you know. And if you want advice, come and see me, you know, perfectly straight. Do it straight, you know, because you're really there to care for these people. It's not quite Butlins, you know. But I'm not a red coat, but you don't want inmates to suffer unnecessarily. And if a little bit of advice can guide them on the way and steer them out of the way of the wing bullies and all that, because there's plenty of them. So when you find out who they are, you've got to deal with them quite differently. But this chap was an oddball, you know. So I said, right. I said, if you want, you can tell me why you're here. He said, I'm embarrassed about that. He said, I'm thinking I might have to go on protection. I said, you've not been molesting children or anything like that, have you? He said, no, I haven't done that. He said, I was having sex with a hen. I said, am I hearing you right? He said, yeah. I said, how the hell did you do that? And you know what he said? He said, well, I had to catch it first. Imagine that. Chasing a bloody hen, catching a hen. And then what do you do with it? I mean, what is stimulating about a hen? So I couldn't quite get this into my head, how he'd managed to do this. But he'd apparently been done for bestiality, yeah. I think he was only serving again ago at 6 months or something like that. Nothing totally significant. But I said to him, listen, under no circumstances tell anybody else, because if people hear that, I mean, just because it's obviously a strange thing to do, they will, you know, try and take some kind of issue some punishment out on you. So they're very vindictive in here, generally speaking. Said, so silence here. Not a squawk. Anyway, that's today's Tales from the Jails. Hey, thanks for subscribing anyway. It helps, you know. Subscribe down here somewhere, yeah? Hey, read my book, Psychic Screw.